TPUSA since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know, this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago.
I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps like bumping up like crazy.
Candace Owens isn't just tossing subtle digs at Erika anymore. She's coming in loud with serious accusations that hit way harder. Now she's claiming Erika pulled a shady move on her own TPUSA crowd, calling it a fake merch operation that supposedly raked in massive money, like millions on the line. This isn't just casual gossip either. Candace is making it sound like something way deeper and way messier. And this time, Candace is pushing it like she's got a proof to back it all up. She says she came locked in with receipts, even pointing to an audio clip that's now spreading fast across the internet.
Turning Point USA cult members are furious that Erika Kirk has been called a grifter, yet this audio seems to point to just that.
According to her, that recording allegedly catches Erika laughing it up with her team, joking about how crazy the merch sales were doing. And what really has people shocked is when that whole conversation supposedly went down. And the timing? It's got people seriously raising eyebrows from every angle. From the outside looking in, this whole situation feels way too intense to just brush off as random drama. But it gets even deeper than that because Candace isn't pushing this storyline alone anymore. Reports say she's now linking up with Charlie Kirk's own sister, and that twist completely shifts the energy of what's going on.
Picture of her kids holding her husband's book. Then a video comes out and she's giggling 2 weeks after he passed, and she's talking about merchandise sales. I mean, she could have done the Jackie Kennedy.
When family gets involved, it stops feeling like simple online back and forth and starts hitting a lot closer to home. That's why people keep saying, the call is coming from inside the house. And that line alone has sent this whole situation into overdrive. It's not just talk anymore. It feels personal, layered, and way more serious than before. Now, to keep things fair, that audio clip by itself doesn't straight up prove anything illegal or deceptive. It adds pressure, it raises questions, but it doesn't lock anything in on its own.
Erika Kirk calling Charlie Kirk's funeral the event of the century in the new leaked audio that Candace Owens posted is crazy.
And that detail matters more than people think, especially with everything else being thrown into the mix. On the surface, it just sounds like normal workplace energy, nothing too shocking at first glance. People talking, laughing, moving product, that alone doesn't raise alarms. But the issue starts when viewers place that audio into the bigger timeline of everything happening around it. Once you line it up with the rollout of the merch, the serious claims about where the money was going, and the tragic context of Charlie's passing, the entire tone of that clip feels completely different. Now, it's not just about what was said in that moment. It's about when it was said and what some believe might have been happening behind the scenes. That shift in perspective is exactly why the internet won't let this go.
I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like it's just insane.
Conversations keep building, theories keep stacking, and people are picking apart every detail, trying to make sense of it all. Candace isn't framing this as a simple mistake or awkward timing either. She's presenting it as something bigger, suggesting a pattern that she believes deserves real scrutiny. To be clear, these are still claims and interpretations, not confirmed facts, but the way they're being delivered has definitely grabbed attention. And if people thought the first audio was uncomfortable, things escalated fast, because now there's talk about Erika Kirk allegedly referring to Charlie Kirk's funeral as the event of the century in another leaked clip Candace Owens posted, and that detail alone has people stunned and reacting in a major way. That video pushed everything into a whole new level of intensity.
Then you have, is it 100 million? I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps like bumping up like crazy. But
in the footage, Erika is smiling big, almost glowing, while repeatedly hyping up how strong the merch sales were. To a lot of viewers, that energy felt off right away, and the second the clip dropped online, it spread like wildfire. TikTok lit up with stitches, people replaying it frame by frame, asking why the focus stayed locked on sales during such a sensitive time. One of the biggest things people kept pointing out was the timing. Critics started questioning why the energy seemed centered on business wins instead of stepping back for family responsibilities during a period of serious loss. That contrast hit hard, and for many watching, it made the whole clip feel uncomfortable in a way they couldn't ignore. And once the internet grabs onto a moment like that, there's no slowing it down. It just keeps building.
The podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now? Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Then you've got that quote making the rounds where Erika says, "Through all of this, I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like it's just insane." And that line only added more fuel to the reaction online. Still, Erika's remaining supporters didn't stay quiet. They pushed back hard, calling the criticism unfair and arguing the clip was taken out of context, trying to shift the narrative before it spiraled even further. But even with all that defending going on, there was one uncomfortable detail they couldn't fully explain away. A growing number of people started saying Candace might have been right about Erika being heavily driven by money, and that idea spread fast across social media. On Twitter especially, posts stacked up quickly, with users calling out what they saw as excitement over financial gains during a deeply serious moment. A lot of people felt the tone just didn't match the situation, even if many weren't saying it outright. It was one of those things where the feeling was there, loud and clear, without needing to be spelled out. And once that perception took hold, it only got stronger as older clips, past statements, and timelines started resurfacing on their own, adding more layers to the conversation.
Turning Point USA, since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know, this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago the other night. So since Charlie has died, that organization has taken in $140 million. But gosh darn you people that are making hundreds of dollars every day on YouTube.
Then you've got that line floating around. And then you have, was it 100 million? I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. And that quote kept getting pulled into the discussion, giving critics even more to point at as the debate kept heating up. In Candace's view, this whole situation just confirmed what she already believed from the start. She's been saying she saw the warning signs early and that it only took a few months for the public to finally catch on. One of the biggest red flags she pointed to was how quickly Erika stepped into Charlie's role as CEO of Turning Point USA after his passing. And that moment raised a lot of eyebrows. According to Candace, the move felt rushed and hard to explain without serious questions coming up. Critics argue that stepping into that position so fast left little room for accountability because it created a situation where people felt uncomfortable speaking up. After all, who wants to publicly challenge someone who's grieving? That dynamic made everything more complicated and way more sensitive. And this is where the story takes an even deeper turn. Candace has positioned herself as one of the first to call out what she believes was Erika turning a painful moment into something tied to business. But at the same time, there's pushback too.
I think the mistake they made, and I've said on my podcast, she should have never become the CEO and chairman overnight. Because now when people have questions, you got to answer them, right? You're not just a grieving widow, but you very quickly decided that you were equipped to be Charlie. Well, guess what? That's going to be a trial by fire. Charlie had to go through it. It's painful. And so people are feeling like, hey, it's not fair to ask her any questions because her husband just died.
Some critics describe Candace Owens. Okay. At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point, as someone helping spread these claims while also benefiting from the attention, saying she has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. From Candace's point of view, everything shifted fast, almost too fast to ignore. She claims Erika moved quickly into what critics are now calling a full-on grieve tour, traveling from state to state, sitting down for non-stop interviews, and keeping the focus heavily on loss while staying front and center in the spotlight. If you were following Erika during that time, it was hard to miss. She stayed visible, fully booked, and constantly speaking. Then came the book release, promoted as Charlie's final work, and supporters were encouraged to buy it not just as a product, but as a way to feel closer to him and honor his legacy. It was framed as something emotional, something meaningful, but Candace argues that even that wasn't where it stopped. According to her, the merch operation kept moving full speed the entire time. And once Candace says she understood how things allegedly worked behind the scenes, she didn't hold back anymore. She went public, got louder, and put Erika directly in the spotlight with these claims. But it didn't end there, because Erika didn't stay quiet either. She pushed back, making it clear she wasn't just going to sit there while her name was being dragged into a growing storm of accusations and reactions. She didn't stay quiet at all. Erika went on air multiple times, directly warning Candace to stop calling her and TPUSA out, and the message was loud and clear. The tension between them wasn't subtle anymore. It was playing out in real time for everyone to see. Then there's that statement making rounds online. Turning Point USA, since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago the other night. So since Charlie has died, that organization has taken in $140 million. And once those numbers got pulled into the conversation, the reactions only got more intense. Candace took it even further, claiming Erika had been trying to profit off Charlie's death from the very beginning. And that's when she really started breaking down what she says was going on behind the merch operation. According to Candace, merch wasn't just some side hustle in the background. It was allegedly treated like the main focus the entire time. She claimed that during Erika's tours, there was a repeated emphasis on pushing merchandise over delivering any deeper message. And that detail didn't sit right with a lot of people watching closely.
I lived out here. I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than going, I don't drink. I find it unproductive.
Then Candace brought up financial figures that seriously caught attention online. She alleged that TPUSA pulled in over $100 million from merch sales alone, a number that had people questioning everything. And it didn't stop there. Candace also pointed to another reported $40 million generated during the black tie gala at Mar-a-Lago in December last year. And once those numbers entered the conversation, the reaction online only got louder and more intense. Once people started adding up those numbers, the backlash only got louder and more intense. It pushed the controversy into overdrive, with more people questioning what was really going on behind the scenes. Candace framed it as proof that Erika's focus wasn't on healing, reflection, or stepping back, but on expansion, growth, and keeping everything moving forward at full speed. And as those figures spread across the internet, the tone of the conversation shifted fast. What started as speculation quickly turned into serious scrutiny, with people digging deeper and watching every move more closely than ever. That's when the pressure really began to build, and the situation took a much heavier turn. According to Candace, the timeline itself raises major questions. Reports claim that just one day after Charlie's passing, TPUSA released a shirt featuring a black illustration of him with his fist raised, paired with the words, "Here I am, Lord. Send me Isaiah 6:8. That detail alone made a lot of people uncomfortable because of how quickly it happened. And it didn't stop there. Within a single week, several more shirts were reportedly rolled out, each one portraying Charlie in a larger-than-life way with different captions. That rapid rollout added even more tension to the situation, leaving people debating whether it was tribute, strategy, or something else entirely. The shirt reportedly sold out almost instantly, and that only made the reaction online even louder. For a lot of people watching, it added another layer of discomfort to an already tense situation. And then, as if that wasn't enough, Erika also set up a GoFundMe shortly after, which brought in even more support from loyal TPUSA followers. According to reports circulating online, donations from that GoFundMe alone were said to have passed $6 million. And once those numbers started making rounds, the tone of the conversation shifted fast. What began as sympathy started turning into suspicion, with more people asking tougher questions than before. That's when Candace kept repeating one central point again and again. If everything is above board, then where exactly is all this money going? With merch selling out, donations pouring in, and events bringing in huge amounts, she argued that transparency should be the baseline expectation. But according to critics, Erika didn't respond publicly to those concerns. Even after the video of her celebrating merch sales went viral, there was no clear statement or clarification addressing the backlash. And that silence stood out to a lot of people, especially since, as many pointed out, she hasn't hesitated to speak up in other situations when facing criticism. Over the past few months, one thing has stood out to a lot of people. When Erika wants to respond, she does it quickly and directly. So her silence around the money questions only made the speculation grow even louder, with more people starting to wonder what wasn't being addressed. At the same time, another shift started getting attention. The goodwill Charlie had built over the years seemed to be fading, at least in the eyes of some longtime supporters. People who once stood firmly behind TPUSA began questioning their loyalty, and confidence in the organization appeared to slip as the alleged merch controversy kept gaining traction. Then, just when it felt like things couldn't escalate any further, the situation took another turn. Reports started circulating that Charlie's sister had stepped into the picture, and once family gets involved, everything changes instantly. That's when many realized this wasn't just internet backlash anymore. It was becoming something much deeper and far more serious. You'd think with all this money reportedly flowing in, Erika might slow down, step back, and take private time to focus on her family and process everything. But critics argue the pace never eased up, and that contrast between grief and constant monetization is exactly what keeps fueling the intensity of this story. According to some sources, there's a belief that instead of stepping back, Erika recognized how much support and money was coming in from loyal followers, and that may have encouraged her to keep things moving forward. At this point, critics say it's no longer just about disagreement. It feels personal, especially to those who supported Charlie long before all of this unfolded. And this is exactly where things take another sharp turn, because now Charlie's sister, Mary, is stepping into the spotlight. According to her, TPUSA, under Erika's leadership, has allegedly not been fully transparent about how much money is actually coming in, and that claim instantly raised the stakes. What made it hit even harder is that these accusations didn't just appear out of nowhere. Reports say an independent investigator flagged serious concerns about the organization's financial transparency, pointing to issues that couldn't be easily brushed aside. And then came an even more shocking detail. This investigator allegedly found that multiple tax filings and financial audit documents tied to TPUSA were missing completely. That's where things started setting off major alarm bells, especially because those records were said to have disappeared just months before Charlie passed away. The timing alone had people looking closer, since it lines up with when Erika reportedly began taking on a more active role inside the organization. According to individuals familiar with the situation, Charlie himself had already started feeling uneasy about the finances before everything happened. He allegedly had his own concerns and even brought in a new team to take a deeper look at the organization's money. That move suggests he was looking for clarity and answers, and it only adds another intense layer to an already complicated situation. But here's the part that hits the hardest. Charlie never got to see the results of that audit. Before any findings could be shared or made public, his life was suddenly cut short, and that left a huge gap filled with unanswered questions. According to Mary, once new leadership stepped in, that entire audit process was allegedly buried, ignored, and quietly pushed aside. Sources say that was the moment everything clicked for her. From Mary's perspective, this didn't look like simple mismanagement. It looked like something more deliberate. She reportedly believed the priority shifted away from transparency and toward control, and that idea raised even more concern around what might have been happening behind closed doors. Mary claims the missing documents, the stalled audit, and the silence that followed all pointed in the same direction, that something just wasn't adding up. And once she decided to speak out, the situation didn't just stay messy, it became explosive almost overnight. Because when a family member steps in and starts raising questions about finances, people stop treating it like internet drama and start taking it far more seriously. At that point, the conversation shifted completely. It wasn't about gossip anymore. It became about money, missing records, unanswered questions, and a timeline that many people say doesn't make sense no matter how you look at it. And once those pieces started coming together, the pressure surrounding Erika didn't just grow, it multiplied fast. Then came what some insiders describe as the breaking point. There are claims that Erika allegedly staged a reenactment connected to the location where Charlie was fatally injured, presenting it in front of a large crowd. Even more controversial, some accounts suggest attendees were charged to step inside and take photos, which critics say turned a place tied to tragedy into something deeply uncomfortable. And that detail pushed reactions to an entirely new level. For Charlie's family, that moment was something they couldn't look past. It crossed a line that, in their eyes, couldn't be undone. Sources say his loved ones were left shocked, trying to process what they were seeing unfold. To them, it felt like Charlie's death was being turned into a prop, a backdrop, something tied to attention and money in a way that didn't sit right at all. The impact wasn't just emotional, it was deeply personal. Reports suggest they felt like everything was shifting toward profit, no matter how much it hurt the people who had known and cared about Charlie long before any spotlight was involved. That kind of tension only made the situation even heavier as more details kept surfacing. And now, Erika has gone quiet, even while more questions continue to pop up and more alleged receipts keep circulating online. That silence stands out, especially this time, because it's not just outside critics raising concerns. It's Charlie's own sister saying the numbers don't add up. And when family starts pulling at threads like that, things have a way of coming to the surface fast. At that point, this stops feeling like internet chatter and starts looking like something unraveling in real time. Family members often know where to look, what questions matter, and which details might have stayed hidden otherwise. And that's what has people watching so closely now. So the big question isn't just whether Erika went too far. It's whether everything people are only now noticing was happening in plain sight all along. Because if the money trail really gets pushed into the open, this story doesn't stay small. It grows into something much bigger than anyone expected. What do you think about all of this? Do you see it as grief mixed with tough decisions or something more calculated? Drop your thoughts below. If this breakdown gave you a clearer picture of what's really going on, don't keep it to yourself. Hit like, subscribe, and share this video so more people can jump into the conversation. The more eyes on this, the more questions get asked, and right now, that matters more than ever. Stay locked in because this story is still unfolding, and I'll catch you in the next one.